Today we're going to make cinnamon rolls. So into your stand mixer bowl, go in with 580 grams of plain flour. Once that's all in, we'll go in with 105 grams of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of salt, and just give that a mix either with your hands or a whisk, just until combined, which is when we'll add our wet ingredients. It's not really a wet ingredient, but to our mixture we're going to add 85 grams of soft butter, and we're going to rub that in. You can use 2 forks, you can use your hands, just rub that in until it's incorporated. Now, to your 235 millilitres whole milk, we want to add 7 grams of instant dried yeast and whisk to dissolve. Once dissolved, this will be going in our dough mixture along with 2 eggs and 1 egg yolk. So now into our dry ingredients in the stand mixer bowl. We're going to start it on a low to medium speed and add in our 2 eggs, 1 egg yolk, and 235 millilitres of the yeasty milk mixture. Once this has all come together into a nice glossy dough, it will be a bit sticky, but you want to take it out, get it on a floured work surface and just knead it for an extra 2 to 3 minutes, just to really bring up the gluten structure and make it nice, stretchy and elastic. Once that's all done, transfer it into a greased bowl, cover with a damp paper towel or cling film and leave to rise for about an hour and a half or until doubled in size. Whilst the dough is proving, we'll make our cinnamon sugar. Into a bowl, go in with 15 grams of muscovado sugar, 225 grams of brown sugar and 20 grams of cinnamon, and just make sure it's all evenly combined. Now that our dough is proved and almost doubled in size, we want to punch out the air and transfer onto a floured work surface, where we will roll it out into a large rectangle around 1/4 inch or 5 millimetres thick. Now that the dough is all rolled out and you've trimmed off any unwanted edges to make it a nice rectangle, we want to spread on the 85 grams of very soft butter and then sprinkle the cinnamon sugar mixture all over. You want to use all the mixture, and once it's evenly coated, you want to press it down lightly with your hands, and this is when we'll roll. Now we are going to roll. We want to start from the bottom and just work our way up slowly. You go from edge to edge, making sure it's all rolled evenly, as tight as you can, and just make sure it's nice and even, and take your time. Now that it's all rolled up, we are going to slice them. I got 12 cinnamon rolls out of this recipe, and we're going to slice them all about even thickness, around 1.5 to 2 inches thick, and transfer them into a greased baking dish. Now that they're in our baking dish in 4 rows of 3, we're going to let them prove for about 45 minutes, cover with cling film, and then remove the cling film when ready to bake. Now bake at 190 degrees Celsius for 15 to 20 minutes. Now let's make our vanilla bean glaze. Into the stand mixer with the whisk attachment, go in with 115 grams of full fat cream cheese and whip until fluffy. Now, to your whipped cream cheese, add 90 grams of icing sugar and whisk again, not too fast so the icing sugar doesn't go everywhere. Once the cream cheese and the icing sugar are starting to combine, drizzle in 40 millilitres of whole milk. And at this stage you may need to scrape down the edge of the bowl to combine with the excess icing sugar. Now at this stage I added a few spoonfuls more of icing sugar because I wanted my glaze a bit thicker. Now, for the best results at this stage, we ideally want a whole vanilla bean. You cut it in half, scrape the seeds and add those in. But I couldn't get hold of one of those, so I'm using the next best thing, which is vanilla bean paste. It still leaves them lovely black speckles all throughout, and I added about 2 teaspoons of this to the icing. These have now had 18 minutes in the oven, and it's time to take them out. Once you take them out, allow them to cool in their baking dish for around 20 to 25 minutes before we glaze them. So I left these to cool for about 25 minutes, and I left my glaze in the fridge for it to thicken up slightly more. And now we just drizzle it all over and try and get as even of a coating as possible. And that is it. This is the final product. These are very nice, very soft cinnamon rolls with that lovely cinnamony flavour, not just overpoweringly sweet. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.